For 6 years my aunt called me special needs to collect aid. I pulled records, found a cash deposit to her doctor, and filed a report. The clinic folded. The doctor retired. Now a grand jury wants statements, and her favorite line, "It was for your own good. Won't work in court." I was 10 when Aunt Linda, my guardian because mom was gone and dad worked shutdowns out of state, checked a box that changed my life. "Special needs," she told the office lady, enunciating each hyphen like a gavel. She whispered a curated list. Episodes, sensory dysregulation, airborne allergies, risk of elopement. I didn't know what elopement meant, only that the attendance secretary looked at me like I was a grenade with a loose pin. Wichita in August smells like hot dust and the sugar glaze from the donut shop by the bus loop. That fall, the church gym became Linda's stage. She ran compassion nights. I became her object lesson, noise-canceling headphones, sunglasses, a weighted vest from a thrift store. She'd rest her hand on my shoulder and say, "Jason's courageous." People clapped. Someone's phone recorded. Later, she uploaded a caption, "Our journey." PDA, she rolled out vocabulary like fresh pastry. Triggers, de-escalation, crisis plan, trauma profile. She had a binder with tabs and gold stickers. She said the fluorescent lights at school attacked my neurology. That cafeteria pizza inflamed my brain. That bus chatter pummeled my amygdala. A counselor hummed, a nurse nodded, and paperwork appeared. Boxes, lines, signature flags. Home instruction arrived in a plastic crate, packet worksheets sealed with rubber bands, a dog-eared math book, a portable DVD player labeled visual supports. Daytime talk shows murmured in the background to soothe me. Linda steeped powder in lukewarm water, supplement protocol, and made a do not cross list on the fridge. Dairy, red dye, gluten, bananas, nightshades, chocolate, ham, anything beige after 4 p.m. My cousin Noah ate soccer orange slices. I counted sunflower seeds. She placed a donation jar by the church checkout with my 5th grade photo under scotch tape. Help with therapy. There were online drives too, laser-focused paragraphs about out-of-network specialists in Omaha. When the thermometer graphic climbed, she would cry on cue. Strangers wrote, "Praying," and "Stay strong." $10 and $20 bills folded like little tents. My existence became a ledger line. The school counselor called me brave. Brave for what? For being the prop. For sitting still on stage while Linda narrated my meltdowns, complete with hand motions. She coached me before events. Look down. Don't interrupt. If someone asks how you feel, say, "Overwhelmed." When I forgot and said, "Fine," she squeezed my wrist. A quick correction hidden from the audience. I learned the choreography of her emergencies. At 2 a.m., she'd snap a photo of my sleeping face, the flash a lightning bolt. "Documenting night terrors," she'd murmur. At 6:30, she'd email the principal, "Rough night, home instruction necessary. Safety first." At 9:15, she'd will a cart of cupcakes into the teacher lounge with a sign, "For the heroes who support our special kids." The frosting was gluten-free and gratitude-heavy. Sunday nights, she inventoried sympathy. She had a spiral notebook. Dates, donors, contact info, follow-up ask written in the margin. There were envelopes with clipped corners, proof of cash donations, and screenshots of Venmo notes. For Jason's therapy, I found a receipt once, $287 at Hobby Lobby. The line item shadow boxes. She framed my kindergarten crayon drawings as therapeutic output and raffled them at the spring bazaar. By winter, my world shrank to living room lights and packet deadlines. My PE grade became participation via yoga video. My attendance was flexible for needs. The school district sent a woman named Erin with a rolling bag and a patient voice. Erin smelled like dryer sheets and carried highlighters. She spoke softly to me and formally to Linda. "We'll reassess after the holiday." We never reassessed. There were perks that looked like love. Linda bought a weighted blanket, navy with glass beads that pooled like a small river. She ordered lavender diffusers and a white noise machine that whooshed like ocean wind. She told me these were tools. She said, "We're a team. But teams practice. Teams play away games." I sat home and became the story. Noah got birthdays with sheet cakes and backyard trampolines. I got sensory-friendly alternatives. Balloons replaced with origami cranes, candles swapped for a battery tea light. He had summer camp. Muddy knees, bruised shins, a whistle around his neck. I had structured enrichment, which meant sorting Legos by color into Ziploc bags, while Linda typed progress notes. The humiliation went public because that sold. Linda discovered Reels. What it's like to calm a sensory storm. She looped stock thunder over a clip of me wearing the headphones she liked because they were bright teal on camera. "We share to educate," her caption said. Educate whom? Every kid at church watched my storm, then whispered when I passed. Once, after she told a sanctuary full of people that I couldn't handle crowds, she dragged me to a stadium fundraiser. "Exposure," she hissed, escorting me up concrete steps. When I didn't spiral, she frowned like I'd failed a quiz. On the drive home, she rehearsed tomorrow's post. A little setback, but setbacks are data. She loved data she could cry about. Dad would call from a motel in Oklahoma City, blowers humming through the phone. "You doing okay, champ?" I'd tell him the week's script, earplugs, worksheets, the jar. He mailed checks with school supplies on the memo and a sticky note. "Proud of you." Linda deposited them in an account labeled Education. She showed me the ledger. Line items. Vitamins, essential oils, ring light. I started keeping my own ledger in a composition book. Dates, what she said, what actually happened. 2/3 said I had migraine. Played Uno all morning, no headache. 2:14 church video. Caption hard day. I was laughing at dog. Felt disloyal at first, like scratching graffiti on a hymn book. But the numbers helped. They made me real to myself. The label sat on my chest like a visitor badge you forget to peel off. It got me excused from math drills and fire drill crowds and cafeteria gossip, and it cost me recess, sleepovers, sleep. Cost me the right to be boring, average, uncaptioned. By spring, Linda had 2 departments. The loud, healthy kids. 1, Noah's soccer photos, booster meetings, and mine, quiet, sacred, monetizable. I was a child. She was efficient, and the system adored efficiency. Linda taught me the lines like it was theater. Soft cough gets nurse attention. Wet cough panics them. Save that for meetings. She drilled phrases that sounded clinical. "I feel dysregulated," she'd prompt. "I need a quiet space." If I forgot, she'd tap my wrist twice, reset. Before callers, she'd whisper, "Remember." Bright lights, ringing in ears, heart racing. My heart did race from the rehearsal. The house laptop wore a chastity belt. A filter let through only educational platforms and 3 hospital portals. Type soccer drills. It rerouted to success stories about overcoming school trauma. Wikipedia was blocked unless you logged in as educator. The home screen showed a pinned folder, JSON, plan. Inside were PDFs named like commandments. Crisis red, school yellow, church green. I read them the way other kids read game manuals. Diagnoses floated like weather. To teachers, sensory processing disorder with auditory triggers. To the church moms, hypoglycemia, very fragile. To the neighbor whose sister was a nurse, seizure risk. We carry rescue meds. Di was deadly 1 month, then soy. When the principal asked for a pediatrician's letter, a new letter arrived from a new clinic every time. "Big city hospitals are more up to date," Linda said, which meant farther, harder to verify, more impressive in a caption. Doctors cycled out like substitute teachers. The ones who asked me questions directly vanished. Linda called it provider fit. We once drove to Omaha, then sat in the parking garage while she photographed the entrance sign. "Proof for the update," she muttered, then turned the ignition and headed to Target. Later she posted, "Long day of testing. Grateful for our team." Comments. Prayer hands, hearts, 3 gift cards slipped under our door by morning. Sundays, the pastor threaded me into sermons. Young Jason is fighting battles we can't see. Let's rally. After the benediction, envelopes found Linda's purse. People pressed 20s into her palm like they were warming mine. She'd tuck them in a pouch labeled medical, kiss my hair, and pose us by the stained glass for a gratitude photo. My smile, her caption, community saves lives. Explanation of benefits started arriving with codes and dates I could not place. Lab work on a Tuesday when we were at the DMV. Follow-up neurology the week we never left Wichita. Linda kept a manila envelope like a relic. Inside were EOBs, referral forms, sticky notes that said, call back. If I asked, she'd sigh, insurance is complicated. Let me handle it. Complicated looked like a spreadsheet and a new fundraiser every other month. Food was doctrine. Safe crackers in portion baggies, for apple slices, 3 carrots, 1 measured spoon of hummus. Weight loss when it happened earned praise. Therapy progress, she'd crow, snapping a photo of my belt notch. When I was hungry at 9 p.m., she'd hand me water with powder. Electrolytes tasted like sidewalk chalk. If my stomach growled, she'd write nausea episodes in her notebook and schedule a rest day. Shame became a standing appointment. In cafes, she'd narrate my deficits loudly for an audience of startled baristas. He mustn't touch the table. Microbial load is overwhelming. I'd keep my hands in my pockets, palms hot with embarrassment. At the pharmacy, she'd tell the tech, he can't tolerate waiting, trauma link, and stare at me until I dropped my eyes. Strangers learned my story by noon. I learned to stop raising my voice above a murmur. At school team meetings, she ran the slides. She loved charts. Incidents per hour in red, calm windows in green. When a teacher said, I haven't observed these behaviors, Linda smiled wintry and said, invisible disabilities are still disabilities. Heads nodded. The counselor looked at me like a fragile heirloom. I wanted to say, I'm bored, not broken. But the script didn't have that line. One night I found the draft posts folder on her phone. 30 captions queued, photos already filtered. When your child's brain fights itself, another day, another battle. She wasn't lying exactly. Battles happened. But the enemy kept changing, and somehow she always won. The like count climbed. So did the "For Jason" line in her ledger. I started pushing on the edges. In the grocery store, I touched the cart with my bare hand. Nothing happened, no lightning, no seizure. In the car, I said I wanted to try school lunch pizza once. Absolutely not, she snapped, then softened her voice for the camera. He's being so brave advocating for safe foods. Clip saved, boundary reasserted. When Aaron from the district asked if I'd like to join art club on a trial basis, Linda answered first. Clubs are overstimulating. I said, I could try. Linda smiled at Aaron, not at me. We'll collect data at home and revisit. Revisit meant never. Aaron's pen hovered, then scratched, tabled. Money kept moving. Gift cards lived in a shoebox. Cash in the envelope. Checks in the education account. I saw a receipt for a ring light, another for a pastel backdrop stand. Better lighting will help telehealth, she said, assembling it before filming a reel titled, How to Calm a Storm. I logged entries in my composition book. The coughs, the phrases, the blocks. 3 halves. Touched cart, no reaction. 3:12. Pizza request denied. Caption bravery. Scripting made me smaller. Writing made me visible. I couldn't flip the master switch yet, but tiny lights were coming on, one by one, across the map of me. At 16, the TV froze mid-free kick, while spinning like it was hypnotizing me. Linda was at choir. I opened the router admin page out of boredom and typed the only password she ever used, Linda123. It worked. Tabs bloomed. Access control, keyword filter, time blocks. There were lists like commandments, blocked, YouTube, Wikipedia, Reddit, soccer drills, BMX tricks, CDC. Allowed, 3 hospital portals, 2 learning platforms, a Bible app, and her blog. The schedule banned the whole internet after 8 p.m. Except, Admin override. Her device. I stared at the screen like it had confessed. Normal was fenced off. My world wasn't small by accident. It had been measured and cut. The next night I asked Noah for the neighbor's Wi-Fi. He shrugged and handed me a sticky note. Sunflower 2G/Harvest 2020. I connected on my phone under my pillow and typed words that felt like contraband. Factitious disorder imposed on another. Medical child abuse. Munchausen by proxy. Articles opened, cold, clinical, not dramatic at all. Patterns. Red flags. Coaching. Doctor shopping. Insurance utilization spikes. I scrolled until my thumb hurt. I wasn't unique. I was textbook. I didn't bomb the system. I dropped pebbles. I borrowed Mrs. Patel's vintage Schwinn under the pretense of mail run and pedaled a suburban loop at dusk. No collapse. No tunnel vision, no ambulance. I ate one Doritos chip alone in the garage, licking the red dust like contraband. Still here. I waited for hives. Nothing. I added 2 more chips, then 3. The only side effect was salt. I started stealing our own mail, because the mailbox key sat in the ceramic frog by the door. I tucked envelopes into my hoodie and read them after midnight with a flashlight aimed into a shoebox for stealth. There was the home instruction agreement with Linda's tight slanted handwriting on reason. Severe sensory crises. Elopement risk. LB's listed lab dates I knew I'd spent in geometry on Zoom. One envelope held a patient portal invite from 2 years ago. Unopened. Expires in 30 days. I downloaded the app and clicked reset. Security questions were easy. Linda reuses favorite saints and her first car, Camry. Inside the portal, follow-up neurology, no-show. Therapy goals. Parent-led behavior shaping. A blood panel marked, hemolyzed, repeat recommended with no repeat. Notes. Mom reports episodes. None observed in clinic. It felt like discovering stage directions in the margins. While Linda showered, I rifled through the hall cabinet labeled medical. Under pulse oximeters and lavender rollers lay an old manila folder. Inside, a phone photo of a deposit slip, $1,250 cash, memo collab, deposited to Dr. Eric Collins / Prairie Creek Wellness. Date, June 17th, the summer I was too fragile for day camp. I Googled him, not a pediatrician, a functional wellness chiropractor with an online store for supplement bundles. Reviews read like infomercial scripts. I started recording. On my phone, voice notes captured Linda whisper coaching me before evaluations. Say the lights feel like knives. Don't look too comfortable. If they ask about friends, say church is hard. In one clip, she rehearsed my episode cues. Hands to ears, slow rocking, shallow breaths. I listened to my own obedient okay and felt heat crawl up my neck. I cataloged everything. Photos of router settings. Screenshots of portal notes. The deposit slip image, cropped and backed up to an email account she didn't know about. JSON.plaintext@Proton. A spreadsheet of EOB codes cross-checked with my calendar. April 11th. Claim for allergy panel. That day was sat. I added hyperlinks, dates, amounts. Evidence made the room spin less. Anger and shame braided together. Anger at the blocks, the scripts, the public tears that profited. Shame because I had been good at the play. I'd worn the teal headphones, accepted the cupcakes, parroted the lines. I'd liked being brave more than being boring. Realizing that made me nauseous. The first time I tried to tell Dad, I chickened out. He was on a job in Tulsa. The call crackly, his voice tired. You all right, champ? I almost said, I think Linda's making me sick for money. Instead I said, I fixed the Wi-Fi. He laughed, grateful. I hung up and hated my cowardice. So I set a date with myself, June 1st after finals, after Noah's last game. I would act, not a pebble, a lever. In the meantime, I tested edges. At church, I lingered in the narthex past my supposed limit. At the pharmacy, I picked up a basket and touched it with bare hands and didn't flinch. Linda noticed the tiniest rebellions. Hands, she hissed, passing me sanitizer. Smile wide for the tech. I took the pump and let it drip off my knuckles like syrup. On May 22nd at 2:13 a.m., I recorded a memo. I am healthy. I am being managed. I can collect proof. Saying it into the dark made it true enough to sleep. State testing weak. At 7:10 a.m., Linda put the forehead thermometer on me, squinted, and sucked air through her teeth. 100.6. Heart racing, no school, safety plan. She pressed my palm to my chest like a teleprompter. Say dizzy. Say ringing. I stepped back. I'm going, I said, and walked to school with the composition book and a thumb drive in my backpack like contraband. At 7:48, I knocked on the counselor's door. Ms. Rivera looked up, took in my face, and said, "Close it." I handed her the folder. Router screenshots, OB printouts, portal notes reading none observed, the photo of the $1,250 deposit to Prairie Creek, and my voice memos. Linda whisper coaching, lights feel like knives. My hands shook. Ms. Rivera didn't. Thank you, she said. We're calling 911 and DCF. You're doing the right thing. The nurse took vitals first. 98.4, pulse 78, blood pressure normal, skin warm and dry. She wrote timestamps. 8:03, 8:05, 8:07. She looked at me like a person, not a project. You can sit here, she said, rolling a chair beside the cot. In the hallway, the radio popped. When the EMTs arrived, Ms. Rivera met them with the file. One EMT read, glanced at me, and murmured, "Copy." St. Luke's South ER smelled like antiseptic and onion rings. They drew blood, ran an EKG, took orthostatics, printed labels with my name. No alias, no fragile. The resident spoke to me, not over me. Any chest pain? Shortness of breath? No, I said. I ate crackers at 6. He nodded. We're going to observe. Your counselor shared concerns. You did the right thing coming in. Grace, the social worker, introduced herself at 10:12. She had a badge, a notepad, and the steady tone of someone who has heard every confession. I told her about the scripts, the blocked laptop, the staged episodes, the hospital parking lot photos, the donation jars, the ring light receipts, the powder water, the neighbor's Wi-Fi. I said the words medical child abuse and didn't throw up. Grace made bullet points. We're filing an emergency hold, she said gently. You won't go home with her today. Linda went Facebook Live at 10:31. I didn't watch. Ms. Rivera did. Her phone buzzed with notifications like hail. My boy is spiraling. Pray for us. Satan fights hardest in testing week. Heart emojis stacked. Then the school nurse, who apparently had had enough, commented. He was stable yesterday. We have logs. Within 5 minutes, someone from choir asked in the thread, which hospital? Ms. Rivera switched off her screen. Focus here, she said. At 11:04, Linda tried to storm in, tote bag swinging, a quart-sized bag of safe snacks, held high like a relic. A security guard walked beside her. Behind them, Grace's posture turned to steel. The ER doctor stepped forward. Ma'am, please wait outside. We're assessing for possible medical abuse. Linda's face glitched, the audience got removed. She looked at me, searching for the script. I looked past her at the clock. Normal food came on a tray at 12:20. A burger, fries, and a paper carton of milk. I felt theatrical lifting the burger. My brain whispered, you'll swell, faint, choke. You'll prove her right. I took a bite. Beef, salt, pickles. I waited to die. Instead I got full. A nurse laughed softly when I burped. Happens, she said, handing me a second milk. Labs came back within normal limits. EKG normal. Telemetry boring. The resident said it like praise. Grace returned with a second badge, an officer from Overland Park PD. We're issuing a police report and a DCF 72-hour protective custody, she said. Placement is with paternal Aunt Margaret. Do you know Aunt Meg? I nodded. She lived in Hayesville with 2 beagles and a garage full of thrifted lamps. By 2:40 p.m., my backpack held a printout labeled safety plan. No unsupervised contact with Linda. No access to my medical records without me. All appointments scheduled by DCF. Grace asked, "Anything you need from home?" "My composition book," I said, then realized it was already on the chair. "And my bike, actually no. Earbuds." She smiled. "We can manage earbuds." Linda tried one more angle at 3:05, slipping a note to the nurse. "He needs his lavender oil. He spirals without it." The nurse didn't bring it. She charted the note, then shredded a printed Facebook comment thread in the bin. The ER doctor dictated, "Concern for caregiver fabricated illness. Recommend outpatient forensic evaluation." Big words finally pointed outward. Aunt Meg arrived at 5:12 with a nervous smile and a tote of gas station snacks that did not say safe on the label. She hugged me once, light, as if I might be glass, then corrected herself and squeezed. "Your dad's on his way tomorrow," she said. "We're okay." Grace handed her the packet like a relay baton. "Guardian temporarily removed," she said. I watched the door, half expecting Linda to burst back through. Instead, the room went quiet. Machines hummed. For the first time in years, I slept before midnight without a script in my ears. It felt like someone had finally cut the power on the noise. Subpoenas went out like fishing lines, and charts came back fat with notes. 3 years earlier, a regular pediatrician had scrawled, "Suspect caregiver fabricated symptoms. Consider second opinion without caregiver present." A month later, Linda transferred me out of county for specialty care. The timing fit like gears. Grace highlighted it yellow, the color for "someone warned us and we ignored it." Platform reports answered the question everyone avoided asking aloud. Over 4 years, Linda had raised about $24,800 on campaigns with names that sounded like hymns: Jason's Brain Battle, Keep Our Warrior Learning, Emergency Travel for Testing. Plus there were special needs disbursements from the Church Benevolence Fund and the Booster Club's Inclusive Grant. The spreadsheet the AG's office printed had 2 columns that hurt to read: Ask and Actual. I was the inventory. Medical records told their own blunt story. There were urgent visits marked on Tuesdays when my phone photos showed the teal glow of a roller coaster queue. Grace compared the EHR timestamps with the EXIF data on images of me at Prairie Springs Theme Park. Same afternoon, same minute. "Interesting," the investigator said in a tone that meant incriminating. Linda had been posting "R again, pray" while I was eating a churro. Prairie Creek Wellness, Dr. Collins's strip mall clinic with the succulents and the diffuser, went dark overnight. The website changed to a white page with cursive: "Closing to pursue family time. Thank you for your trust." The phone line chirped a recorded goodbye. Through the window you could see the ring where the essential oils shelf had been. The Secretary of State's portal updated: "Entity dissolved." In the same week, Collins's Facebook announced his retirement. He looked 43. When the State Attorney General's office called, Aunt Meg set a mug of tea in front of me like I was going on stage. The investigator, Patel, wore a navy blazer and kindness. She asked for a statement, then didn't rush me. I told her about scripts, routers, powders, the $1,250 cash deposit to Collins. The parking lot photos passed off as long days. The burger at St. Luke's that felt like a jailbreak. She asked if I'd testify. I said yes before my hands could shake. A grand jury letter arrived on legal paper that looked like it should crackle. "You are requested to appear." My guardian ad litem, Mr. Cho, prepped me with calm bullet points. Answer what is asked. It's okay to say, "I don't know." Dates matter. So do amounts. He filled a binder, Normal Labs, the pediatrician's caregiver fabricated note, patient portal no-show flags, screenshots of Linda's seizure posts from days the school nurse logged, no concerns. He added a print of the deposit slip photo with Collins's name and the memo collab. He tabbed each section with post-its: blue for medical, red for money, green for school. CPS meetings felt like weather systems: cold air, hot air, pressure changes. Linda's attorney, a man who said narrative like a disinfectant, argued internet influence, and a good mother over researching. Linda stared at the carpet and said, It was for your own good. The world is cruel. I could feel 13-year-old me wanting to agree, to sink back into the weighted blanket and absolve her. Mr. Cho slid the burger and milk lab results across the table. Normal, he said, repeatedly. The school nurse, who'd kept receipts for years, arrived with a carton of logs. She read from April. Reported fever at home. At school. Temp 98.2. Playful mood. Normal appetite. She read from September. Caregiver reported seizure overnight. At school. No postictal signs. Participated fully. Completed math benchmark. Her voice didn't tremble. Mine did when I said, I was told to be small. Police served a search warrant at Linda's house and walked out with her phone, 2 iPads, a spiral ledger, and the church bazaar donation jar with my 5th grade photo still taped to it. Forensics later listed drafts of captions. Google searches for how to qualify for homebound, what counts as seizure, and which dyes cause hives. There were PayPal screenshots and a note labeled Outreach. Follow up with Pastor T. On a voice memo, you could hear her practicing. He is so brave he battles silently. Silence did not sound like bravery anymore. It sounded like work. At the grand jury, the room was quieter than I'd imagined. 12 faces, 1 clock, a pitcher of water. Mr. Cho stood behind me like a fence. I read dates and amounts and said no when prosecutors asked if I had ever actually passed out in the ways described. I explained the router blocks. I explained the Doritos. I said, I believed I was fragile because she needed me to be. A juror swallowed hard and looked at the table. Outside, in the courthouse hallway, Aunt Meg hugged me like she had in the ER. Awkward first, then right. She handed me a bag of Cheetos and grinned at my raised eyebrow. Snack for brave people, she said. I ate them there, orange fingers and all. Dad texted a photo of a motel coffee and the caption Testimony Day Fuel. I sent back a thumbs up and a picture of my stained fingers. He replied with a heart. When the stage disappears, the actress is left with a script that no longer works. Linda kept reading hers into a phone the state now held in an evidence locker. I kept learning new lines. I can say no. I can ask for seconds. I can be boring and alive. The judge signed the no-contact order on a Tuesday at 9:14 a.m. The clerk stamped it twice. Ink like a stop sign. Linda can't call, text, DM through proxies, or accidentally park by the curb on choir nights. If she wants a message relayed, it goes through my guardian ad litem or not at all. Paper is louder than speeches. Dates and signatures don't blink. Therapy is every Thursday at 4 with Drive Jane, lights soft, no diffuser, no miracle drops. She lets silence sit like a guest we're learning to host. We work on internal alarms versus external scripts. I say hunger now, and it means hunger, not electrolyte crash. I say tired, and nobody fetches a powder. Homework. Eat lunch with people. Notice my body without catastrophizing it. School is clocks and bells and the heavy slam of lockers. Boring in a way that feels like wealth. I laugh at the cafeteria pizza jokes. I finish a physics lab with a fluke multimeter and realize I like exact numbers. Ms. Rivera fist bumps me in the hallway with 2 taps and a grin. Aaron, rolling bag, gentle voice, enrolls me in art club. I show up, draw hands, and nobody claps like I cured polio. The announcement speaker crackles. Life proceeds. Aunt Meg teaches me to drive in the empty church lot on Maple and 3rd. The beagles snore in the back seat, seat-belted like saints. First loop, my hands shake at 10 and 2. Second loop, I breathe. By the 5th, I'm easing a 3-point turn between faded orange cones, and the wheel under my palms feels like an exorcism. She says, easy. You're allowed to go somewhere. The DA, Patel, calls with plain updates. Case file remains before the grand jury. Clinic dissolved. Collins agreed to a consent order. No practice pending investigation. She adds, restitution requests are piling in. Church fund, booster club, the inclusive grant program. Numbers appear. $24,800 from platforms, $3,600 in gift cards, $1,250 cash to Collins logged in the packet. My name exits the ledger as a revenue stream and enters as a witness. Medical workup at St. Luke's outpatient. CBC, CMP, A1C, allergy panel, EG, tilt table, the works. Results: unremarkable, normal, within reference range, normal, normal. Dr. Singh writes, no evidence supporting prior caregiver reports. He looks at me, not the screen. Go live, he says and grins. I buy a soda from the lobby machine just because I can. Linda still tries to triangulate through people. Miss Hazel from Choir Corner's Aunt Meg at the thrift store. Linda was saving him. Aunt Meg points at the no-contact orders copy in her wallet, the section that says, no third-party contact. At CPS, Linda's attorney calls me internet poisoned. In court, words lose costume. Forms, oaths, timestamps, EXIF data, they don't care who speaks loudest. They care who signed where. Boundaries take muscle. I block a cousin who forwards Linda's healing article. I hand the school office a one-page release list with 3 names and 1 number. I set my phone to vibrate and answer only Meg/Dad/Mr. Cho. At night, the house is quiet in a way that used to scare me. Now it's a room with the light off because I chose it. Food gets fun. First spicy taco at Taqueria Sinaloa. Al pastor with pineapple. Red salsa I'm warned about twice. My tongue goes hot. My brain does not explode. I text Dad a photo with the caption, still alive. He replies, proud of your gastrointestinal bravery. Plus 3 fire emojis. We split churros. I don't file a symptom log afterward. I go home full, which is an ordinary miracle. I make a new notebook, not evidence this time, plans. July, pass driving test. August, apply for part-time at Ace Hardware. September, physics club. I tape in my learner's permit like a trophy. I list petty dreams. Camping once, learning to change my own oil, standing in a stadium and not narrating it to a camera. Noah tosses me a soccer ball. I chest it badly. We both laugh. If you're reading for a heroic flourish, here's the quiet version. For 6 years, my aunt called me special needs to collect aid. I pulled records, matched dates, found a $1,250 cash deposit to her doctor, and told a counselor. The clinic folded. The doctor retired. A grand jury wants statements. The AG wants numbers. Programs she tapped want restitution. Her line, it was for your own good, doesn't pass the forms that ask who, when, how much under oath. What I get back isn't a saga. It's routine. Bells, quizzes, bad jokes, driver's edition, a phone that doesn't tremble. The right to be boring without being branded brave. I thought I needed applause. Turns out I needed Tuesday.